I'm back, baby. That's right. I'm back. I'm KJ Miller, your host, founder, lecturer, content creator. Welcome to Queen Things. I'm back from vacation. Feels good to be back, but it also felt good to take a couple weeks off. Not going to lie to you. Needed it. And now I'm back. And it appears as though we have much to talk about. First of all, Taylor got married while I was away. I think it was either while I was away or right before I left for vacation. Taylor got married. So we got to talk about that. Blue Ivy had a concert that her mother and father also attended and performed at. Very exciting. We should talk about it. The World Cup. As far as I can tell, the World Cup lasted for 8 months. That's what it felt like to me as someone who does not play or watch soccer. And so I don't really have anything to say about the soccer itself. Didn't watch not a single game. I did watch the halftime show from the final, and I do have thoughts on that. So we'll talk about that. What else? I do have a little bit of a personal update, just life stuff, nothing crazy, just, life stuff since I've been gone for the last 2 weeks. And a few other bits and bops. This is going to be a bit of a pop culture rundown episode. I don't have a quote unquote main topic. I have just a lot of things that we need to talk about because I've been gone for 2 weeks. So let's get into it. Let's start with a life update. As you know, as I shared back in June, I am 40 now. Yes, I am. And we did some smaller celebrations. My husband and I, our birthdays are 3 weeks apart. I'm 3 weeks older than him. Yes, cougar. I'm 3 weeks older than him, but they're right there next to each other. So every now and then, particularly for milestone birthdays, we'll sometimes do something joint. So we did our smaller celebrations, but for our big joint celebration, we went to Napa Valley with a bunch of our friends. There were 12 of us in total. It was so fun. I cannot stress to you enough how fun it was. Napa Valley is just a magical, magical place. Now, you do have to fly into San Francisco to get there, or that's how most people do it. They fly into San Francisco. And San Francisco is my least favorite city in America. I make no apologies. For those of you listening from San Francisco, I love it for you if you love it for you. But for me, the 2 weeks that I lived in San Francisco while I was in Y Combinator, and that is another story for another day, the worst 2 weeks of my life up until that point. I really genuinely hated it. So you do have to fly into San Francisco. The good news is you get there, you hop in your rental car, and then you go right across that bridge right onto Napa Valley. Okay. We didn't spend we didn't make a stop. We didn't stop for coffee. We didn't stop for French fries. 2 things I usually do stop for when I'm on a road trip. No, I didn't want to be anywhere near San Francisco. I wanted to get myself immediately to Napa Valley, which is what we did. We stayed at the Carneros Resort. Oh, the height of luxury. Okay. Cannot recommend enough. One of the main, I forget exactly what her title was. Basically head bitch in charge. That's what I would call her. Anyway, one of the main women in charge was this beautiful British Black woman who I immediately fell in love with. She made sure me and my friends had everything we needed. The thing about Carneros is every single room is actually a cottage. So it's almost like you have your own house. We had, a little bit of a premium cottage. So we had the bathtub in the back, which my husband used every single day. He loves bathing outdoors. It had an outdoor bathtub and an outdoor shower. It also had both of those things inside the cottage, but he likes to be one with nature. Myself, I like to clean myself inside. Okay. But he liked both of those things. It had a huge outdoor area, deck, fire pit, all of that. It also had a very nice fireplace inside. Again, I used the fireplace inside. I like inside. So every morning I would get up, have a nice cup of coffee next to the fireplace or mimosa, whatever floats your boat. It just was so, so, so luxurious. My friends, I like to think of myself as a very good, friendship cultivator and curator. And so even though not every single person knew each other coming in, everybody had such a good time with one another. Again, because I like to think I'm very good at curating friends. And I just pick top tier friends. I really do. I have a very, very high bar, an extremely high bar, much higher than others I have noticed. I personally feel in my heart that my friendship bar is much higher than some of my friends. Cause I've been around some of my friends friends. And I don't always think to myself, oh, you're someone that I'd like to keep hanging with. But every time I bring my friends together, that's what they say about each other. And then I start to get very territorial because I'm like, no. Y'all can be friends when you're together with me. Don't be out here trying to be friends with each other without me. I really don't like that. It has happened many times. I get very territorial about it. I'm working on it. But they all had an amazing time with one another. We had an amazing time. Just luxury and amenities, two of my favorite things, and wine, three of my favorite things. Actually, that reminds me that whenever I'm in the grocery store with my daughter and we pass the wine aisle, she'll be like, Mama, it's your favorite thing. And it feels like maybe that's not great. I do have a glass of wine just about every night. It is what it is. Anyway, three of my favorite things: luxury, amenities, wine, all in Napa Valley at Carneros Resort. Obviously, this is not sponsored, but if you are looking for those things, can't recommend enough. It just was so good. So fun, so amazing. Just the relaxation we needed. Such a great way to bring in my 40th. So yeah, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to my husband. Yes, my birthday now was over a month ago. Look, it is what it is. Okay, it's a milestone. And I loved it. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about Taylor's wedding. You know, I will say this about the wedding. First of all, it seemed like it was exactly what she and Travis wanted. And I love that for them. And I already made a video on my TikTok about the people hating on the wedding. I just don't understand people. I don't understand people hating on anyone's wedding, but the people hating on the wedding specifically because they felt like, oh, she's so selfish because she hosted this big event over 4th of July weekend in New York. I don't get that take at all, because given the scale of the wedding she wanted to have, right? Like she wanted to have 1,000 people or however many people it was. Given the scale of the wedding she wanted to have, it was going to be huge and quote unquote disruptive no matter where she hosted it. So I think it was actually very thoughtful of her to host it in a place that is used to putting on large scale events all the time. That is New York. Day in, day out, Sunday to Sunday. There is always something big going on. There's always a concert. The UN is coming through. Presidents are coming through. Films are being filmed. TV shows are on location. Like, I can tell you, someone who lived in New York for a long time, that wedding, I don't even know, it wouldn't have even registered. It would not have caused me any consternation whatsoever, because that is what New York does. Particularly, that is what Madison Square Garden does. Like, this is just, she hosted it in a place and space and city that does this day in, day out. I think that is the opposite of selfish. So that I already gave that take on TikTok. The other thing is, I will just say, because I know when we've spoken about, who was it? Chappell Roan. I have said I find her to be exhausting because she clearly wants to be famous, but then acts like she can't stand being famous. And that is annoying to me. Taylor is not that at all. Taylor wants to be famous and acts like she wants to be famous. Taylor likes having celebrity friends, and she wanted all these people to come. Could she have hosted a very private, secret wedding if she wanted to? Yes, but not with the 1,000 folks she wanted to come, okay? I think she could have hosted a very private, secret wedding a la a Jay-Z and Beyonce, a la a Zendaya and Tom, if she just wanted to keep it to a very small, intimate group of people. If she wanted to do that, she could have picked any day in the calendar, gone to one of her many, many homes, and put some flowers in the backyard and gotten married and have no one be any the wiser, if that's what she wanted. But that's not what she wanted. She wanted a huge celebration. She wanted all of her dancers and everybody from the tour to come. She wanted everybody she's ever worked with to come. She wanted the entire Chiefs football team to come. She wanted every celebrity that she was cool with, close with, or had even at some point dapped up, as far as I can tell, because some of the people on this list, like when I saw Nelly and Ashanti were there, I was like, when was the last time Taylor spoke to Nelly and Ashanti? I don't know. The point is, if she has ever dapped you up in your life, she wanted you to be at that wedding, and that is her right. Frankly, I can relate. Like, obviously my wedding was not that big, but as many people as I could fit into the venue. That's how many people I wanted to invite. My venue happened to be able to fit 150 people. I invited 150 people. I wanted to max it out. You know, it was a joyous celebration. I wanted everyone to be joyous with me. Also, I looked amazing. Hello. So, yes, I wanted everyone to see me, and I can relate to her wanting it to be big and fabulous. And Travis too. They're both extroverts. They're both showmen. They both love that. And so, given the scale of the wedding they wanted to have, it was never going to be a private, secret affair. And, you know, I've seen people say, like, oh, how can she talk about wanting to be private? When have we even heard her talk about wanting to be private? Yes, like, obviously, there are things in her life she does keep private and wants to keep private. But of the words, if we were going to do a word cloud of things Taylor has mentioned in her life, I feel like privacy would be a very, very small word. A very, very small word. Okay. That just hasn't been her focus. And so for the scale of the wedding she wanted, it was always going to be a big, big, big event. It was always going to require a big, big, big venue. I think she did it in a way that made a ton of sense. And I'm happy for her. I'm happy because she seems happy, you know? And that is great. Mazel tov. Congrats to you, Taylor and Travis. The only other thing that I was going to say about the wedding is I am hoping to at some point get a picture of her in the gown. I just checked because I was like, oh, maybe it's been released and I haven't seen it. It has not. I'm reading from an Elle article here titled Dior shares new details on Taylor Swift's wedding dress reveal. This article came out 2 days ago, July 20th. It says, Taylor Swift didn't keep the world guessing about her wedding dress designer for too long. Immediately after the ceremony, her rep revealed that she wore a custom Dior haute couture dress by Jonathan Anderson. Not a single photo of the look or wedding itself has been released in the weeks since. And so, which again is her choice. I'm glad she's been able to lock it down. I'm glad, no guests have revealed any of that. The only photos I've seen from guests are photos of themselves taken in like hallways or photo booth looking type things. So I hope if she eventually wants us to see it, I hope we get that directly from her. And if she doesn't, I respect that. That's honestly the only thing I care about. I don't really care about the rest of it. If I saw the rest of it, if photos and videos came out, I'd be like, ooh, yay, ah. However, the only thing I can genuinely say that I would love to see released is her in the wedding gown. I love a wedding gown. And I love a reveal. So if we get that, I'd be happy about it. So now let's talk about this Blue Ivy concert. And yes, obviously I'm being a bit facetious. It was a Jay-Z concert in New York. It was a 3-night residency in Yankee Stadium that broke attendance records for Yankee Stadium. And on night 1, Blue Ivy joined her father and played piano, which we've never seen her do. She played piano to the song Feeling It. So I knew this residency was coming. I didn't know that much about it. I've always been a bit of a peripheral Jay-Z fan. The one album of his that I think there are 2 albums that I recall like either downloading or purchasing. I definitely downloaded and loved Watch the Throne, his joint album with Kanye West, RIP to Kanye West, who we used to know and love. But that album, you cannot tell me that album did not go hard. It absolutely did. And then 44, 40, 40, 44, 4, that one too, mainly because it was seen as kind of a response to Lemonade. So I was like, what's he talking about? Those are the Jay-Z albums that I like actively participated in. I was not really, 30 years ago when Reasonable Doubt, his original album came out, I was 10 years old. I certainly was not purchasing or listening really to rap music. So, I've always been a bit of peripheral fan, obviously being a super fan of Beyonce, that has caused me to be even a bit more of a fan of Jay's. So I knew it was happening. I did not know the scale of everything that was happening. And so I happened upon this article in Forbes. Jay-Z proved he is still the king of New York, and the numbers back it up. And it goes into everything he did, sort of basically he has been celebrating 30 years of his career. Reasonable Doubt, his first album dropped 30 years ago. And in order to do that, he's been doing activations all throughout New York, which culminated in this 3-night residency in Yankee Stadium. So I'll read a little bit from the article. It opens with, just call me Forbes.com in case you forgot, New York's still mine. Jay-Z in the song I Get Money. from September 1997. Nearly 20 years after Jay-Z spoke those lyrics above, Rock Nation turned New York City into a living museum for Sean Carter this past month, activating his year-long Jay-Z 30 celebration. What began on June 24th as an exhibit dedicated to Jay-Z 30 in Brooklyn's Dumbo neighborhood unfolded into a sweeping look at the cultural icon's journey and legacy across music, fashion, and literature over the past 3 decades. From milestones on display to collaborators playing songs from his catalog, it was clear that the legacy of the man many deem the greatest rapper of all time had become part of the fabric of NYC culture. The tribute also included wrapped NYC subway trains, retail pop-ups, and an energy that felt almost religious. They continue, the numbers don't lie. Across 3 consecutive nights at Yankee Stadium, more than 136,000 fans attended the Residency. Night 1 sold 44,916 tickets, the most ever for a concert at Yankee Stadium, followed by the second night, which set a new record at 45,832 tickets. The third and final extra inning show also sold out, bringing attendance to historic levels. And so I think the names of the show, night 1 was Reasonable Doubt. Night 2, I believe, was The Blueprint. Then night 3 was Extra Innings. So I think he was following, basically, he was doing the whole albums along with many, many other songs. And I will say I watched many clips. Obviously, I watched the clips of him performing with Beyonce. He performed with her night 1 and night 3. Night 3, she did Drunken Love, brought out a whole crew of dancers. She the only one that even had dancers, okay? And it wasn't even her show, which is very Beyonce of her. Anyway, obviously I watched those. Obviously I watched Blue, him perform with Blue. I also watched a number of clips of just him performing by himself. And this is something my husband and I were talking about last night, comparing him performing by himself on a stage to Justin Bieber performing by himself up on a stage. You know, it's just a conversation we were having. It is my strong opinion that Jay-Z is far, far, far more compelling on stage by himself. But part of the reason why, it's not just about talented, because I think Justin Bieber is very talented. I think Jay-Z is a showman through and through. And even when he's just on a stage by himself, he is giving you production. He is giving you transitions. He's giving you a full band. He's giving you a show. And then on top of that, he does what a lot of rappers these days don't do, which is raps the whole song. He'll, take a breath here and there, but that'll be filled in by, someone else, or usually actually by the audience. He'll let the audience fill in the gaps. But he's rapping the whole song, typically no backing track. Like, he is doing what a lot of rappers these days don't do, okay? Because a lot of rappers these days are lazy when they perform. He is not that. But then also he is really thinking through the transitions of every song. So many of the clips I saw were so great because he would be doing one hit and then just like with one, very well-timed drum beat would take you immediately into the next hit. And he's just thinking about what's going to get the crowd going. Always. And very compelling, in my opinion. A very charismatic performer. I've seen him live now twice, including in New York in Yankee Stadium many, many years ago. And it was one of the best concerts I've been to. And again, I'm just a peripheral fan. There are many songs of his I cannot name and do not know the words to, and I still had such a great time. And then the second time I saw him was On the Run with Beyonce, and he was, again, fantastic. He is a showman. And so I loved the clips. I think from what I'm hearing, everyone who attended loved the show. Obviously, he brought out just a stupid number of guests. I mean, he had obviously B and Blue. He had Rihanna out, Tiana Taylor, Swiss Beats, Clips. Who else? Usher was there. He brought out everybody. Eminem. I mean, it was kind of just like a ridiculous list of folks that he brought out, surprise guests that he brought out throughout the 3 nights. But even without all of them, I do think he is a consummate performer and he did a great job. And I think he is deserving of all of this. I know there are people who feel like, oh, Jay-Z is this and that. And, where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay. Personally, I'm not really with all that. But if you are, you are. I think he's a fantastic performer. I think the things that have been alleged about him have not been proven. And it's just like, I'm not the one who's going to try and dig into them. Not at this time. Okay. Right now, I'm just going to give him his props for a well-deserved, victory lap, which is what I think these performances were. And since I mentioned Justin Bieber, let's go ahead and talk about the World Cup halftime show. which I finally watched yesterday. I certainly didn't watch it live. I just haven't been compelled by the World Cup. I don't care about soccer. I love that it has brought so many people so much joy. It just wasn't really for me. So I finally got around to watching the halftime show yesterday. What I will say my primary emotion was confusion. It was pretty much confusing start to bottom. Is that how you say it? No. Bottom to top. Nope. Top to bottom. There you have it. Top to bottom, I was confused. The only part of it that really seemed like it kind of made sense and was gelling for me was Shakira. We opened with Madonna underneath the stadium, and pretty much the entire song she did was underneath the stadium. And that seemed confusing to me because you had a whole audience of folks in the stadium, but they were watching her on a screen while she was under the stadium. And I don't know if it actually was live or if all of that was pre-recorded. Either way, she wasn't on the field. Feels odd to me to have done the whole song that way. Also feels a little bit like biting Beyonce because that's how she opened her halftime show. But she was only under there for, not even 10% of her time performing was spent under the stadium. Madonna spent 90% of her time performing under the stadium. So that was confusing to me. Then the two men who were sitting in the front, I now understand them to be, I guess, retired soccer players. Cool. That's great. However, what was confusing about them was they both were just like smiling awkwardly the whole time. They both kind of looked like they weren't sure if they were supposed to be there. Like they got put in the car and they're like, wait, is this where I'm supposed to be? That was the look on their face the whole time. Okay. So that also was confusing to me. Then we immediately go from Madonna to the Muppets. I cannot overstate how confused I was by the Muppets. Are the Muppets just like so much bigger abroad than they are here? I get that they are big here. Obviously, the Muppets are big here. But for them to be a part of the World Cup halftime show, to me, I'm like, it must be a bigger phenomenon than I'm realizing, because these are puppets. Hello, these are puppets. People pay good money to be at this World Cup. I presume. I don't know how much it costs to be at the World Cup final. I presume it's not cheap. People have spent good money to be here, but they're watching puppets perform. Okay, so now I'm even more confused than when Madonna was underground for the whole performance. Now we have Muppets performing, and they're performing that song. I forget who sings it, but why are they performing that song? Why are they here at all? All right. So now I'm continuing to be confused. Then we get into BTS. What was confusing about BTS? I understand having BTS come and perform. They're a big group. Great. I have seen them perform at like award shows and been blown away by how tight they are, how crisp they are, how good they look, how nice they sound. None of that applied to this performance. None of that applied. It was not crisp. They did not sound particularly good. At different points, people were popping up. I've just seen them do much better. This was not that. And so then I was confused by that. Like, what happened? This was the premier boy band. But we're looking a little sloppy. We're sounding a little sloppy. I know they went on a break, but presumably if you're coming back from the break, it's because you're ready. They didn't sound ready. They didn't look ready. So that was confusing to me. Then we get to Justin Bieber. And my God, he couldn't have picked a slower, more boring song. That song, I think, is like a pretty song if you just like hear it out and about. But this is the World Cup final. Everybody is cheering. Everybody is up in arms. Everyone presumably has been drinking. We're shaking our hips. At least that's what I would think one might want to do at a final for the World Cup. We cannot shake any hips to everything hallelujah. 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 It's the sleepiest song you ever did hear. And he made the decision to sing it by himself. Again, getting back to the conversation I was having with my husband. Like, okay, if you're going to do this song, and I really don't think you should have done this song, but if you're going to do this song, give us production. him bent over alone, playing guitar and singing this song. I cannot envision a less charismatic way to perform this song in a stadium of over 100,000 people. That was so confusing to me. Who okayed this? Who thought this was a good way to do this? There's a picture of Beyonce and Jay-Z watching this halftime show where they both look befuddled and confused. And believe me, you were not alone. I was befuddled and confused. And then we ended with the only performance that made any sense to me, which was Shakira. Shakira comes out and gives you a halftime show that makes sense. She's shaking ass. She's in bright colors. She has lots of dancers who all know what they're doing. It feels like, a World Cup final. Finally, she's hitting her mark. She's lip syncing. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's lip syncing, but like, we get why she's lip syncing on this stage in this moment. It makes sense. I'm not going to hold that against her because she's giving us an actual halftime final show. So thank God they ended it with her, because the rest of the time, actually they didn't end it there, because then they moved on to have some children singing, which I guess, but again, like we should have ended. We should have just ended with Shakira. Okay. Like, I don't know why we needed the children coming in. Just confusion all around. I was confused. I guess it made sense to somebody. And if you enjoyed it, I love that for you. Am I calling it bad? I don't even know if I'm calling it bad. I'm calling it confusing. It was confusing. But if you enjoyed that, great. Fantastic. So now let's get into some Bips and Bops. Number one, Bravo has officially announced who from last summer's cast is coming back to Summer House this year. That is, we'll put a photo up, Carl, Lindsay, Kyle, Sierra, Jesse, Mia, Bailey, and KJ. Great. I think this is fantastic. Those are exactly the cast members that I think should have come back. Obviously, who's not coming back? Neither West nor Amanda. Thank God. Can you imagine? What would they even do? It would be like the reunion where they just sat there limply, gave us nothing, and everyone hated them. So thank God they're not coming back. Also, Ben isn't coming back. And frankly, I think that makes sense. He added very little. Levi isn't coming back. Again, that makes sense. We barely saw her last summer. So yeah, girl. I've seen people say like, oh, I liked her energy and she seemed fun. I don't know how y'all even saw her energy to like it. She was so absent. Like, she might be great, but we didn't hear anything from her during the season. We really didn't hear anything from her during the reunion. So she might be fantastic. I wouldn't know. I feel like I have no way of knowing. So I think it makes sense that she's not coming back. I think this is a very good, solid group. I'm excited to see like what other newbies they add into the mix, but this to me made all the sense in the world, and I'm very, very happy about it. And since we're talking about them, I will briefly mention the Amanda and West pregnancy rumors that I guess they sort of kind of dispelled, because they made a joking video where like Amanda was putting a ton of pickles into a shopping cart and ice cream, basically being like, aha, you think we're pregnant. First of all, if that was them trying to dispel the rumor, I don't think y'all should do these little jokey jokes to dispel rumors. Like, we already don't trust you and don't believe you. I think you should just come out and say, I'm not pregnant, if that's what that video was trying to do. Because frankly, I don't know if that's what that video was trying to do, or if it was just being cheeky about something that is true. Generally speaking, I don't comment on pregnancy rumors because that's your business. But now you guys have essentially commented on it. So if that's what that was supposed to be, I would like you to be clearer, okay? Because we just already don't believe y'all. So just come out and say it, all right? Another Bip and Bop. This might be very niche. I don't know if you've been following the Undone by Kate scandal that has been unfolding on social media. I've been riveted. I've watched every single video that has come across my For You page. To summarize, in case you are not briefed, a woman got on the internet and said that she wanted to share the story of her wedding dress from hell. She had gotten a custom wedding dress made, okay? And she does not name the designer, but she, over the course of the video, I think it was actually over the course of like maybe 2 videos, outlines the craziness she went through trying to get this custom dress that she eventually just walked away from because it was that bad. Basically, every fitting she went in for, and she went in for several, it was a different dress, and it was never the dress that she had actually wanted to be made. And so every time she went in, it basically just got worse and worse and farther away from the dress she wanted. I mean, it really was crazy. So now she's got designers coming in to the comments and being like, girl, this is not a custom dress. This person was ordering dresses essentially, from Shein and other places, and then trying to tweak them. So every time you were giving her feedback, she basically was starting over and getting a different basic dress and attempting to create your dress from those basic dresses. Like, there's nothing custom about this. Okay, so then it comes out that the dress designer is Undone by Kate, because Kate, the owner of Undone by Kate, makes a video basically like saying, I'm sorry that this happened, but we've refunded you, and now I'm getting death threats. Mind you, most of us had no idea it was Undone by Kate because the original poster didn't say that. And yes, I guess there were people in the comments sort of like speculating, but the poster never said it was her, never verified, never, was responding to comments like, yeah, you're right, it's this person. So Kate of Undone by Kate, which is a wild name given everything we've learned, Kate makes this video, outs herself as the designer of this super shoddy work. So then other people who have started work, who have previously worked with Undone by Kate, come out and jump on the bandwagon to tell people about their terrible stories and experiences with Undone by Kate. Then the internet sleuths, actually not even sleuths, just start going to Undone by Kate's website and social media and pulling out pictures and doing close-ups with arrows and everything else, being like, look at this stitching, terrible. Look at this zipper, undone. Look at this ruffle, uneven. Like, just close-ups of like how poor quality her dresses actually are. And I have not, like I said, every video about this that has come across my For You page, I have watched. I am now convinced that this woman, Kate, is not a designer and does not make custom dresses. That is what I am now walking away from this with. And it is because she herself outed herself as the designer of this terrible dress. Oh, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man. If there is a lesson to be learned here, it is that you really can always shut the fuck up. And I've said it before, shutting the fuck up is always an option. Yes, people were speculating that it was you, but people didn't know. People didn't know. So you could have kept your mouth shut, deny. And maybe none of this would have happened. But now I, someone who has never even heard of you, when I think of you, I think, oh, Undone by Kate, as in it's not going to be done when it gets to you, or it's going to be done poorly because she doesn't know how to sew. This is now my impression of you, when I had no impression of you previously. We'll post a few of the clips and a few of the links just so you can see for yourself if that is the conclusion you draw. But once again, I am forced to say, shutting the fuck up is free and always an option. And I think that is the lesson we should all take from this. I guess one other bip I will mention is the Gracie Abrams album. It is a bip for me because I haven't listened and I don't plan to. I actually saw Gracie Abrams live because she was the opener for Eras Tour when I went. And this was during that time where she had that very, very big song. And so there was a lot of hype around her. And I just remember I couldn't get excited about her. Couldn't get excited about that song. Couldn't get excited seeing her live. She seemed perfectly fine to me, but that was it. I always got from her perfectly fine. That's what I continue to get. And perfectly fine is never going to motivate me to go and listen to someone's album, seek out their music. It just isn't. And from the reviews I've seen, which have been limited, but from the reviews I've seen, it kind of seems like that's what other people are getting from this album. Like, fine, good, not great, not that compelling. That's what I'm hearing. Certainly the review I watched in fullest was from Swiftologist. He seemed very, very underwhelmed by the whole thing. But I've watched a few other people talk about it, and honestly, their takes seem similar. So I don't have much to say about it because I haven't listened. And again, I don't plan to. But if you've ever thought to yourself, I wonder how KJ feels about Gracie Abrams, you now know the way I feel about her is that she seems fine. Not for me, but fine. That's it for Bips and Bops. I am going to close out with what I'm reading. I promised a few weeks ago that this would be a sometimes segment, and here we are. We've landed here because I'm reading a lot, which I did make a video, a TikTok last night about my 5-star reads from July. I am currently reading a book called The Candy House. And this is one of those times, and I do this a lot because I just like, if someone recommends a book and they recommend it fervently enough, I'll probably put it on my list. And then at some point I'll press play and listen to it and decide, within the first, call it 20 to 40 minutes if I'm going to be into it. This little book right here is one of the books where I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Didn't know anything about it. I just knew somebody recommended it highly enough that I was like, okay, let me listen. What an experience it's been so far. I am, I think 40% of the way through right now. I'm 40% of the way through. Okay. I still don't know what we're headed towards. It's first of all, it's sci-fi, which I didn't know when I started. And I read almost no sci-fi. Okay. And the thing about sci-fi is, I think the thing that makes it great, but also sometimes one of the reasons I stay away from it, is it just feels like anything could happen because we are not bound by the current laws of reality. So this book can go anywhere, and it has. It does seem as though we are circling a world. Like, yes, I'm getting a million different perspectives. Every chapter is like, oh, a new person doing a new thing, but you can see how these pieces are starting to fit together. So it is compelling. Do I know where we're headed? No, I don't. But I kind of like it. So that's what I'm currently reading. The book I just finished, Into the Blue by Emma Brody. Oh, so good. If you love a good love story that's just meaty, juicy. I mean, like character development on 1,000. And just like you're learning while you're reading, you're learning kind of the craft that these two main characters are both pursuing while you're reading. I love that. I love when it feels like I'm kind of learning something while I'm getting a really good story. So good. Before that, I read Score by Kennedy Ryan. That's actually my book club pick for this month. I am meeting with my book club that I put together. It's a very small little book club tomorrow night to discuss. So amazing. I love Kennedy Ryan. I am determined to meet her. She seems like such a doll, just so sweet, so amazing, so powerful, such a good writer. If you're looking for a nice, good romance, deep, the characters are flawed, but in a way that just, I feel like helps you understand yourself and your relationships better. And the sex scenes, if it's one thing Kennedy Ryan is going to get right every time, it is a sex scene. And if that is something you enjoy, you will enjoy this book. Okay. Score was fantastic. Ooh, The Correspondent. I've read a lot of books. Follow me on Goodreads. The Correspondent was great. I didn't know what I was getting. Is another book where I did not know what I was getting myself into. Loved it. I was blown away by the author's ability to build such a big world via the mechanism she did. I was really, really, really blown away. Those are just some of the books that I have read recently. Follow me on Goodreads. I review every book, but right now I'm reading The Candy House. If you're reading it too, don't spoil it. Please don't spoil it. Okay. But tell me if you liked it. Okay. Whew. And that is it. We've made it through the Bips, the Bops, the Hims, the Haws, the His, the Hers, the who's it's, the what's it's. We've made it. I am back from vacation. I'm excited to be back, and I'll see you next time.